a little late-night PT, Phil and Trev. Jayson Tatum sped through his PT back at MSG, where he tore his Achilles just 11 months ago.
Plus, Roy's hoping to go back-to-back like Lethal Weapon. See, all my Drake references aren't disparaging. Sports Center, let's have a day.
See the facial reaction? It's sour.
Yeah, it really is. Deuce is...
Come on, Deuce. You got to know the scouting report.
Deuce's dad, the headline, back at MSG for the first time since rupturing his Achilles 332 days ago. 16th game back this season. He's playing 32 minutes a night. He's healthy, but the psychology of returning to the scene of last year's injury was undeniable pregame.
Not like thrilled to go back and play there. Last time I played there, obviously it was a traumatic experience for me. Obviously I knew at some point I would have to get over that hurdle and, play there again.
Well, the Celtics entered with 4 straight wins. They clinched the East 2 seed with the win here, and it didn't take Tatum long to get over that hurdle. Steal, transition, lay in his first bucket at MSG, exhale, continuing playing basketball, which he did well. Next position, and 1. Tatum's back, but Boston down 1 at the half. New York led by as many as 13 in the third quarter, though in the fourth, C's up 4. Go ahead and make it 7-3 again the old-fashioned way from Tatum. He had 24, but this was Boston's biggest lead. Here comes the Knicks. Jalen Brunson behind the back to Cat. Top of the key triple. Karl Anthony Towns went for 16 and 12. Knicks up 1. The Celtics bench, though, was huge. No Jaylen Brown. Boston's bench, which included Baylor Shireman, 51 points. Only 3 dudes played off the bench. They combined for 51. Shireman went 6 of 7 from deep. He had 20. C's up 1. 2 minutes left. Where are you going? Brunson to Hart. Brunson went for 25 and 10, but Hart was the story. 23 of his 26 points came in the second half. He had 15 points in the fourth quarter alone. 6 of 7 shooting in the final period. And here with the Knicks up 3, the dagger. MSG erupts. Hart hits 5 triples. Knicks, their most wins in a season since 2013. Josh Hart, what was it like to close that one out?
The first half I was ass. So I had, the second half I knew I had to bring it.
We're heading in the direction of being where we need to be. I like the climb that we've made the last week or so, the last 3 to 4 games, and we got a couple more games to get there. And for us, we'll take it one game at a time. But we got these 2 left. We'd like to win both of them. What does that mean? I don't know. We'll see at the end of the day. But when we lace them up, we're playing to win.
ESPN senior NBA writer Brian Windhorst joins us now. And Windy, for New York, this is less about catching Boston for the 2 seed. That's probably not happening. But it all but assures the Knicks won't fall down to the 4. But what overall makes a regular season home win as 4.5-point favorites significant for New York?
This was an excellent win for them. They handled their business against the Celtics, who were playing well in the fourth quarter of this game. As soon as Jalen Brunson came in with about 6 minutes to go, you could just tell they fell into the rhythm that we've seen them have so often in late game situations over the last couple of postseasons, because this was kind of like a pre-playoff game. And Brunson made so many plays. Obviously, Hart was the finisher, but it was Brunson who understood that and kept getting him the ball. And they did a great job defensively on Jayson Tatum. So look, they had a chance to maybe take a step out of the 3 seed tonight. They could have laid down in this game. Instead, they used it as a big bounce point. And they can walk into the postseason knowing that they're 3-1 against the Celtics during the season with a big win tonight. The Celtics can come back and say, listen, you didn't do any of those games against Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. But I think if we end up seeing this as a second-round playoff series, we're in for a great test, a great showing of basketball.
Wendy, speaking of Tatum, we heard from him as far as his trepidation coming back his first game in the Garden since he tore his Achilles there. He put up 24, 13, and 8. Why wasn't that enough to get the C's 1 in the win column?
Yeah, this was a good performance from Jayson Tatum, but it was not a great performance. And early in the night, he had some emotions. The Knicks crowd was booing all the Celtics, but when Tatum was introduced, he was cheered because the Knicks crowd knows what this means to him. And it's an emotional moment. And so Tatum had to sort of get past those emotions, and he did. He just didn't have a very good efficiency night. He missed 15 shots. He had 6 turnovers, 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. And, down the stretch of the game, New York really pressured him. They double-teamed him a little bit, forced the ball out of his hands, and he didn't show a lot of aggression. He didn't score in the last 8 minutes of the game. So it was a nice job by the Knicks. I know Tatum thinks he can play better, but like I said, the Knicks can take away saying, listen, we took a pretty good shot from their bench, and we were able to slow Tatum down. And I'm sure that Tatum will look forward to another chance at these guys if he sees them in the second round.
You know what? We'll look forward to it as well as far as this matchup goes. Wendy, we appreciate you as always, sir.
112-106. The Knicks get the win over the Celtics in a fun game. Celtics made a comeback in the third quarter, had the lead there in the fourth. Josh Hart, though, making some big shots down the stretch to give New York the victory. Tom Giles, Scal, Eddie House joining us here on Celtics Postgame Live. Eddie, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on what you saw tonight, your overall takeaway from this one?
Well, I didn't think we had a great first half, and then they ended the second quarter and started the third quarter on a 10-0 run. But we made our own run. I thought it was a good basketball game. It was back and forth, but we had some very uncharacteristic turnovers in the fourth quarter. And I think those are the things that cost us. We did not get an opportunity to even get a shot. You talk about when Peyton lost the ball a couple times, and then that pass across when Jayson Tatum passed to him, he lost the ball right there. Derek White could knock down the shot. But Baylor Shireman, I thought Baylor Shireman was fantastic tonight, and he kept us in the game in that fourth quarter by knocking down a whole bunch of threes. But we just couldn't get to stop. And I also would say this. You got to give the Knicks a lot of credit because we didn't have a switching unit out there. And I think at the end of that game, we should have had a switching unit that could switch and not have to be in a drop coverage or be where we did switch and it's a mismatch somewhere where Jalen Brunson's getting a mismatch and the big is a little late getting back to Josh Hart because he had a hell of a game as well.
Yeah, I mean, those Josh Hart threes, uncharacteristic, yet he still made them. So you got to tip your hat to him on that. I thought it was a well-fought game. I really wanted to see Tatum kind of break out, like put the whole demons behind him and stuff like that. But I don't know how he feels. Maybe we'll get him in postgame and we'll find out, if he was thinking about things. He had sort of a misstep in that fourth quarter right around the same area where he did do the Achilles. So just an interesting game. But I think Eddie's right. Like, give the Knicks a ton of credit. They handled the barrage from Baylor Shireman, and they still made big plays, whether it's Jalen Brunson or Josh Hart, or even early on in that game, Karl-Anthony Towns. So Knicks did well. If for everybody wonder, I mean, obviously we'll have Jaylen Brown. But I feel like you watch the Knicks defense, and if we play them in a series, it's going to be a real series. It's not going to be a cakewalk for us because we got all of our guys back. Like, the Knicks are tough defensively. They make shots. So for me, from a playoff standpoint, it'll be something that I would look forward to because two teams that are really grimy playing it out in the playoffs is what the NBA is all about.
What makes them so tough defensively in New York?
Well, you just saw in that fourth quarter, they raised their level. They're physical. When OG Anunoby's into the ball, Bridges does a good job of using his length. They protect Jalen Brunson. They do have holes and weaknesses, but you got to make sure you're exploiting those. Get the matchup you want, exploit that matchup.
Okay, let's go through the sorry.
Real quick.
Yeah.
How many times did Mitchell Robinson tie somebody up so they had a jump ball? So handsy team, very handsy, very physical. All of those things right there, it would lead to one of those great series. And, those could be a 6-7 game series depending on how somebody takes care of business early on in that season and possibly who has home court advantage.
And then you look at how this one finished, because that's really what it came down to, is back and forth throughout the fourth quarter. Lead, Eddie, your thoughts?
That drop coverage right there is killing us, especially when you got a guy like Jalen Brunson who is an excellent point guard who can read and manipulate. Like that pass he made to Josh Hart, it was so much confusion. Let's not just talk about the confusion that happened at the point of attack. There was confusion. Derek White kind of leaned in, then he had to lean back out. But then if you look on the strong side, there was confusion there. And then Jayson Tatum didn't know to help or to get to the corner. Do I protect the rim or do I get to the corner and protect the three once Josh Hart got it? Now, I'm thinking to myself, well, Josh Hart's going to have to go up, jump up, turn all the way around, and try to throw it through Jayson Tatum. But because it was so much confusion and we got manipulated in the pick and roll because we were in drop coverage and we didn't have the opportunity to switch. Now, I will say this. If Jaylen Brown is out there and I don't care about Karl Anthony Towns having the size advantage. He does a lot of pick and popping, right? He's not really looking to put his back to the basket. Every once and again he does. He does pick and pop and he does pick and roll. But you could cover that if you have switchable guys. But if you're playing a drop coverage, it's pretty damn tough to guard them because they're going to get open shots. And we've seen Josh Hart, once he started knocking down them open shots, it's like any professional out there. You start knocking down one, you knock down that other, that basket get bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's nothing you could do about it. Even with Vucevic contested him on that last shot, it didn't matter.
So we talked about, maybe gamesmanship playing a role in this game. It felt like, the Celtics were playing to win this game. There's no doubt about that. But do you think they make that adjustment if and when they see the Knicks again where you don't see that drop coverage?
I don't know. I don't know. I kind of agree with Eddie. If we're playing this game with Jaylen Brown is a defensive equalizer. You could put him on a big. You could have him switch. You could put Tatum in the action. You could switch Tatum and Brown. I feel like he probably won't be Vucevic late in the fourth quarter against a guy like Josh Hart. So, did we lose the game? Yes. Did we show our full hand with Jaylen Brown not playing? No. Right? So, if they think that they're going to be able to do that the next time, it's probably not going to happen. But there are other things that can open up as well. And I don't know what they could have done. If they would have switched that, then Brunson would have been one-on-one against Vucevic. That would have been, you could get hurt from that as well. But, Josh Hart is 41%, but a lot of people give him wide-open shots. So that's 41% on their shots. But he made 2 clutch ones.
Okay, he makes the clutch.
Scott, I wasn't talking about, switching with Vucevic. I'm talking about him being on the bench and us having guys that are switchable. You know what I mean? You can't. That could be able to say, like you said, the versatility of Jaylen Brown. He can guard Karl Anthony Towns if he has to. He's physical enough to do that. He can move his feet good enough, and he has enough size, and he's strong enough to stay in front of a Jalen Brunson. So to me, when I look at those, that's the lineups that I'm talking about, where you could get switchable guys, and sometimes it might not be a Kata or a Vucevic night. Maybe they get some minutes, but once you start seeing things get exposed, especially in the playoffs, once you get exposed in the playoffs, they're not going to stop doing it. And we got exposed on the drop coverage tonight. So you don't think that they're going to go back into the lab. They're going to look at that and say, oh, this is what we could do a lot of if they run this. And then Jalen Brunson, he's going to look at the film and he's going to understand, okay, I got so much I can do. And it was one play where they ran a double screen, right? It looked like it was a dummy screen first, and then the big came, and they got exactly what they wanted, and they ended up getting a 3. And so those are the little small things that I'm looking at, because in the playoffs, you're going to see different looks. They're going to disguise it, but you're going to get the same exact action at the end of it.
Okay. Well, we're just getting started here on Celtics Postgame Live as we got you through the last few minutes of that game, but plenty went into it. We're going to hand out a Tommy Award. And one well-deserving guy of that. Celtics fall in this one, 112-106. Knicks take the season series 3 out of 4. Quick break. We're back.